Imagine you walk into, like, the biggest, most comprehensive library in human history.
Okay, setting the scene. I like it.
Right. And you march straight up to the central index. You pull out the card for the exact obscure topic you want to learn about, and you follow the map deep into the winding stacks.
But let me guess, the book isn't there.
It's not there. When you finally arrive at the specific shelf, it's entirely empty.
Just a completely blank physical space where, the sum total of that knowledge was supposed to be resting.
Exactly. But instead of just leaving you staring at the dust, there is this highly detailed, incredibly complex set of instructions taped right to that empty shelf.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And those instructions tell you precisely why the book isn't there,
Right.
where else in the universe it might be hiding, and the bureaucratic steps required for you to actually write the book yourself.
I mean, it's basically the architecture of a void. And honestly, the shape of that empty space tells us so much more about how the library functions than the book itself probably would have.
That is exactly the journey we are taking today.
Mm.
So when you sent us your source document for this deep dive, you asked us to look into someone named Steady Ed Hedrick.
Right.
But there is a massive twist to the text you provided. The document you sent us contains absolutely zero biographical information about the man.
Like none at all.
None. Instead, you sent us the exact raw text of a Wikipedia article not found page.
Which, honestly, is such a brilliant pivot for us to explore.
You think so?
Oh, totally. Because instead of hitting a frustrating dead end, we are getting a really rare behind-the-scenes look at the scaffolding of the internet's biggest encyclopedia.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like, when you look closely at an error page, you aren't just seeing a mistake. You are seeing the rigid rules of the system temporarily exposed. It's like seeing the underlying matrix of how we categorize human knowledge.
I love that. So our mission for this deep dive is to explore the anatomy of this digital empty space.
Let's do it.
We are going to examine what this platform's specific UI, its error messages, and its navigation menus actually reveal about how crowdsourced knowledge is structured, maintained, and sometimes incredibly delayed.
It's a lot more complex than people think.
It really is. So let's start with the blunt reality right at the top of the document you sent. The primary message the platform delivers is, quote, Wikipedia does not have an article with this exact name.
Notice the phrasing there.
Right. It doesn't say this person doesn't exist. It just says we don't have this specific string of text.
Exactly.
And then it gives you, the user, this fascinating piece of advice about its search mechanics. It warns that titles are case-sensitive except for the first character.
Yeah, and that specific detail reveals the rigid mathematical nature of digital filing systems.
How so?
Well, to a human brain, Steady Ed with a lowercase e and Steady Ed with an uppercase e mean the exact same thing, right? We parse the semantic meaning effortlessly.
Right. If you pass me a note with bad capitalization, I still know exactly who you were talking about.
Totally. But to a massive database architecture, those are entirely different entities.
Oh, wow. Really?
Yeah, under the hood, computers don't read letters, they read characters as binary numbers, specifically ASCII codes.
Okay, I remember hearing about ASCII.
Right, so an uppercase E and a lowercase e are literally different numerical values. So if a database is strictly case-sensitive, searching for the wrong capitalization isn't just a typo.
It's a totally different search.
Exactly. To the machine, it is like searching for a completely different species of animal.
That feels incredibly unforgiving. I mean, let's unpack this. It's like looking up a name in a massive ancient phone book. But the librarian tells you that capitalizing the wrong letter halfway through the name effectively banishes that person to a parallel universe.
That's a great way to put it.
They just cease to exist in your search. But wait, if it's so strict, why does the page say, except for the first character?
Oh, that exception is a brilliant, necessary compromise between messy human behavior and strict machine logic.
Okay, how so?
Well, humans almost instinctively capitalize the first letter of a search term, whether they mean to or not. It's just how we type.
True, yeah.
And more importantly, web browsers automatically capitalize the first letter of a URL pathway for structural consistency.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So by making only that very first character case insensitive, the system forgives our single most common formatting habit.
Oh, that's smart.
Right. While still maintaining the lightning-fast sorting capability that a database of millions of articles actually requires.
I have to wonder, though, does this strict case sensitivity actually make knowledge more precise? Or does it just make it significantly harder for you and me to find what we are looking for?
That's the big question.
Like, if the database is so powerful, why can't it just guess our intent?
It is a deliberate trade-off, really. It prioritizes precision over intuition. Think about it. If you are trying to distinguish between the iconic 80s band,
Yeah, great band.
right, if you're distinguishing them and the standard English word "the," case sensitivity is the only reliable way a machine can tell them apart without reading the entire context of the article.
Oh, that makes total sense.
It forces the user to speak the database's language rather than the database burning vastly more computational power trying to guess human nuance.
Okay, so we failed the primary search because we didn't speak the machine's language perfectly, or the page just plain doesn't exist. We hit the wall.
Yep.
But the document you sent shows the page doesn't just stop and leave you hanging there. It immediately pivots.
It really does.
It offers this massive constellation of alternative databases. It lists like a dozen sister projects you can check on a dead.
This list is an absolute masterclass in how we have decided to compartmentalize knowledge in the digital age.
I want to read this list to you because
Yeah.
seeing it all laid out is just staggering.
Go for it.
So it tells you to go look for Steady Ed Hedrick on Wiktionary, which is the dictionary. Wikibooks for textbooks. Wikiquote for quotations. Wikisource, the library of primary texts.
Which is huge on its own.
Yeah. Then Wikiversity for learning resources. Commons for media and images. Wikivoyage, the travel guide. Wikinews, the news source. Wikidata, the linked database. And finally, Wikispecies, the biological directory.
It's exhausting just hearing it, but what's fascinating here is how it reveals the platform's underlying philosophy.
Which is what?
That not all information is created equal, and more importantly, not all information belongs in the same container.
Okay.
An encyclopedia article is fundamentally prose. It is a synthesized narrative summary of historical facts. That is a completely different format than Wikidata, for instance.
I'm really glad you brought up Wikidata because that one always confuses people. How is a linked database different from an encyclopedia?
Think about the last time you asked your phone's voice assistant a trivia question like, when was Ed Hedrick born?
Okay.
Your phone doesn't want to read a 5-paragraph biographical narrative to find the answer. It wants a raw, machine-readable data point. Oh, right. It just needs the date.
Exactly. Wikidata strips away all the prose and just stores the raw relationships. Name, Ed Hedrick. Birth date, June 28th, 1924. It is knowledge formatted exclusively for other machines to read.
Here's where it gets really interesting to me.
Yeah.
Why fracture human knowledge into so many highly specialized buckets? It's like going to a massive department store looking for a simple biography, and the greeter tells you to go check the hardware section, the travel agency, and the garden center just in case.
That's a funny visual.
Right. Why not just put everything about a single topic on one massive scrolling page?
Well, because mixing data types creates absolute editorial chaos.
How so?
If we connect this to the bigger picture of how information is maintained, you quickly realize that a dictionary requires entirely different editorial rules than, say, a travel guide.
Okay, that's fair.
A travel guide, like Wikivoyage, needs constant, almost daily updates. If a restaurant closes or a train route changes, you need users to update that instantly.
Yeah, it has to be immediate. But an encyclopedia, however, needs deep, peer-reviewed historical consensus. It moves slowly by design.
I see. You can't use the same yardstick to measure a quick travel tip and a nuanced historical biography.
Precisely. If you put them all in one bucket, the editorial standards would just collapse under the weight of trying to govern completely different types of truth.
Wow.
By siloing them, the platform protects the integrity of each specific type of knowledge.
Okay, so we see how strict the database is with text and how aggressively it categorizes different types of facts.
Right.
But what blew my mind in the document you sent us is that this rigid control bleeds directly into the visual design of the page itself.
Oh, this part is fascinating.
It actually hijacks your screen's appearance. The source material details some highly specific visual parameters for this error page.
Yeah, the UI toggles.
Exactly. You have this appearance menu on the sidebar. It offers a width toggle, standard or wide. It offers text size options, small, standard, large. It even offers a color beta, letting you choose automatic, light, or dark mode.
Which, on the surface, implies a highly customizable, user-friendly environment.
It does. And it even has this incredibly mysterious feature listed as birthday mode, baby globe, which is currently marked as disabled.
I absolutely love that detail.
It's so weird.
It is such a wonderfully strange artifact of the platform's underlying code. Like, a birthday mode implies some sort of celebratory user interface overlay, perhaps for an anniversary of the platform itself.
Yeah, like digital confetti or something.
Exactly. But here it is, sitting disabled on a sterile error page, like a crumpled party favor left behind in a drab filing cabinet.
It's hilarious. But here is the truly crazy part.
Lay it on me.
Right under these customizable options for text size and color, the document explicitly notes two force limitations.
Oh, right.
It says, this page always uses small font size, and this page is always in light mode.
It's wide.
It literally provides you with a menu to change the look of the site and then completely overrides your choice.
This raises a really important question about the psychology of user interface design.
Yeah, why do that?
Why would an error page deliberately lock you into specific visual constraints despite having the architecture built in for user customization?
It feels like a total contradiction.
Yeah,
Is this intentional psychological design?
I think it has to be.
Because when you were reading a normal article, you might want dark mode to reduce eye strain so you can read comfortably for an hour.
Exactly.
But locking this error page in a sterile, bright light mode feels like flipping on the fluorescent lights in a hospital waiting room.
That is the perfect analogy.
Right. It subtly urges you to stop getting comfortable and either leave the room or fix the problem.
I think you've hit on something crucial about how digital spaces manage our behavior.
Yeah.
When you are looking at an article, you are a consumer. You are meant to be relaxed. But an error page is not content. It is a system diagnostic.
Oh, I like that distinction.
It is the machine speaking directly to you, the user. By stripping away those comfort features and forcing small text in a bright light mode, the system is visually communicating. This is a sterile administrative space. Pay attention.
It totally breaks the illusion. It snaps you out of your cozy reading environment and puts you in the harsh, brightly lit engine room of the website.
It wants you alert. It needs you to read the technical instructions rather than just passively scrolling.
And those technical instructions are incredibly demanding.
Very much so.
Which brings us to the Contribute section of the page. You aren't just allowed to passively stare at the void. The page actively tells you how to fill it.
Right.
But the gatekeeping here is intense. To create the missing Steady Ed Hedrick article, the text lays out very specific bureaucratic hurdles.
Yep, the hoops you have to jump through.
First, you have to log in or create an account. And then, crucially, it says you must be auto-confirmed to create new articles.
Which is a huge barrier for a casual user.
Totally. Otherwise, you have to use something called the article wizard to submit a draft for review or formally request that someone else write the article.
This is where we see the ultimate tension in crowdsourced knowledge.
How so?
The platform famously brands itself as the free encyclopedia that anyone can edit.
Right, that's their whole thing.
But the reality of maintaining that freedom requires hidden, robust layers of bureaucracy.
So what does this all mean for the average person? I mean, it's like being handed a hammer and told you can help build a massive community center, but first you have to sit in the contractor's office until they decide you're trustworthy enough to actually swing it.
That's exactly what it's like.
What exactly is this auto-confirmed status anyway?
Well, auto-confirmed is essentially a digital trust metric.
Okay.
In the very early days of the internet, anyone could create a web page instantly, completely anonymously.
The Wild West days.
Exactly. But as the platform grew, that open door policy led to massive waves of spam, malicious vandalism, and the creation of millions of junk pages by automated bots.
Oh, right. The bots ruin everything.
They really do. So to protect the database from collapsing under the weight of digital garbage, the system instituted this invisible threshold.
And what is the threshold?
Generally, you have to have an account for a certain number of days and have made a certain number of minor, non-destructive edits before the system automatically upgrades your status to auto-confirmed.
Oh, I see.
It is a test to prove you are a human being who is acting in good faith.
I understand the defense mechanism, but let me push back on the reality of this.
Sure, go ahead.
Think about the friction of having to prove you're human online. We all hate doing those TCHA tests where you have to click on all the traffic lights.
Oh, they are the worst.
Doesn't this heavy requirement to use an article wizard or wait days to become auto-confirmed intimidate the very people who might actually hold the missing knowledge?
That's a very valid concern.
Like, what if the world's leading 80-year-old expert on Steady Ed Hedrick finally decides to share their life's work, but they hit this wall of technical bureaucracy and just give up?
It is a profound risk, and it is the central dilemma of open source architecture. Every single hurdle you add to prevent a bad actor simultaneously discourages a good actor. The article wizard is meant to be the compromise here.
How does that work?
It guides unconfirmed users through a heavily structured form to ensure they provide citations and maintain a neutral tone.
Oh, so it holds their hand a bit.
Yes, but it still puts their draft in a slow-moving queue to be manually reviewed by experienced editors.
So they still have to wait.
They do. Ultimately, the platform has decided that a slower, more frustrating creation process is a worthwhile price to pay to ensure the repository remains accurate and reliable.
It's prioritizing defense over speed. It assumes the human user is the risky variable,
Precisely.
which brings us perfectly to a section of your source document that assumes the human isn't the problem at all.
Oh, yes, the technical side.
Sometimes the machine itself struggles to keep up. The final section is titled, Other Reasons This Message May Be Displayed, and it outlines the hidden, mechanical realities of the servers.
This is where we finally confront the illusion of the instantaneous internet.
Yes, the page explicitly warns that if a new article was recently created, it might not be visible yet because of a delay in updating the database.
It's just a slight hiccup in the matrix.
It literally tells you, the user, to wait a few minutes or try the purge function. And if that doesn't work, it suggests checking the deletion log to see why the page might have been erased.
We are so accustomed to thinking of the digital world as a permanent, real-time reflection of reality.
We really are. You click a button, and you expect the universe to instantly reorganize itself.
Exactly. But terms like database delay and purge function peel back the curtain. They remind us that the internet is a physical thing.
Yeah?
It is composed of thousands of spinning hard drives, miles of fiber optic cables, and massive server farms syncing data across continents.
I just love the dramatic terminology here.
It is pretty intense.
The purge function. It sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie where you had to vent the reactor core before this ship explodes.
Right, it does.
What is the purge function actually doing in this context?
So, when you view a heavily trafficked web page, you usually aren't pulling data directly from the live master database,
Okay, why not?
because that would overwhelm the system. Instead, you are seeing a cached version, a temporary static snapshot saved by a server physically closer to your geographic location to make the page load faster on your screen.
Oh, that makes sense. It's like a photocopy of the real thing.
Exactly. If an article was just created seconds ago, that local snapshot hasn't updated yet to reflect the change.
Ah,
So the purge function is a manual command that forces the server to throw away its old snapshot and fetch the absolute latest live version from the master database.
that implies something really wild.
What's that?
We expect the internet to be perfectly in sync with the present moment, but the very existence of a purge function means the platform sometimes gets stuck in the past.
It totally does.
Are we ever really seeing the most current version of digital history? Or are we always looking at a cached ghost?
Wow. That is a beautiful way to frame it. A cached ghost. And if we connect this idea of ghosts to the deletion log mentioned in the text, it becomes even more literal.
How so?
Well, the deletion log proves that the void we are looking at might not be empty simply because no one ever cared about Steady Ed Hedrick.
Right.
It might be empty because someone did write the article, but a community of editors argued over it, decided it didn't meet their notability standards, and effectively erased it from the public eye.
Oh, wow. So the digital void isn't always virgin territory waiting to be discovered. Sometimes it's an excavated site.
Exactly. The deletion log is a record of the invisible battles fought over what deserves to be remembered and what gets left behind.
An excavated site. That totally reframes its entire document for me.
It really changes your perspective, doesn't it?
It does. We started this deep dive trying to figure out who Steady Ed Hedrick was. And while your source material left us with absolutely no idea about the man himself,
None whatsoever.
this missing search result offered us something arguably more profound. It gave us a complete, naked blueprint of the internet's most vital knowledge engine.
We saw how the rigid mathematical rules of case sensitivity and ASCII codes dictate what the machine can even understand.
Yeah.
We saw how human knowledge is fractured into highly specific sister projects, like the difference between an encyclopedia and the raw data of Wikidata, just to protect the integrity of the facts.
And we looked at the rigid, sterile aesthetics of the error page itself. The way it offers you customizable dark mode and then forces you into a bright light mode with small text, acting exactly like the harsh fluorescent lights of an interrogation room.
We explored the necessary, sometimes frustrating gatekeeping of being auto-concerned or using the article wizard just to swing the hammer of creation.
And finally, we found those cached ghosts in the machine.
Yeah, we did.
The server delays, the dramatic purge functions, and the hidden deletion logs that prove the internet is a physical, churning machine subject to traffic jams and editorial erasure.
It turns out an empty shelf in the Library of Human Knowledge is one of the most structurally complex and heavily guarded places you can visit.
It really is. And I want to leave you with one final thought to mull over after sending us this fascinating document.
Let's hear it.
Every single article on Wikipedia, every massive, heavily cited, sprawling page detailing the entirety of human history, every war, every scientific breakthrough, every biography of every world leader, started as the exact same blank, lockdown, sterile void we just explored today.
That's an incredible point.
So the next time you encounter a digital error page, a 404, or a not found message, ask yourself,
Yeah.
is this just a frustrating dead end, or is it an invitation to become the architect of a space that doesn't yet exist?